Why does your dog suddenly freeze, fix its eyes on an empty corner of the room, and stare at absolutely nothing? You have felt it. That small, cold prickle at the back of your neck. When your dog locks onto a patch of empty air and will not look away. Ears up, body still. Tracking something that, as far as you can tell, is simply not there. And some quiet, uneasy part of you has wondered the exact thing everyone wonders in that moment. Can it see something that I can't? For centuries, people have answered that question with ghosts, with spirits, with the idea that dogs keep one paw in some other world. But the real reason is stranger than any ghost story, and it does not require anything supernatural at all. Because that corner your dog is staring at is not empty. It is full of things that are happening right now in your own home that you have absolutely no way of sensing. Your dog is not staring into another world. It is staring into this one, far more completely than you ever will. And what it is showing you in that unblinking gaze is the edge of your own senses. Let's begin with the thing you have to accept first, because everything else grows out of it. To you, that corner is empty. But empty is not a fact about the corner. It is a fact about you. You move through the world convinced that what you can see and hear and smell is more or less all there is, that the room is fully mapped and mostly still. But you are living inside a tiny, narrow slice of the world that is actually there. A thin band of reality that your particular senses happen to pick up, while an enormous amount of what is really going on passes by completely undetected, right in front of you, all the time. Your dog is tuned to bands of that world you are locked out of. So when it stares at what looks to you like nothing, it is almost never staring at nothing. It is paying very close attention to something extremely specific, something real and present, and located in that exact spot that you simply do not have the equipment to notice. The staring only looks mysterious from inside the limits of your own body. Start with sound, because it is the biggest gap of all. Your dog does not just hear better than you. It hears an entirely different range of the world. It can pick up sounds far higher in pitch than you can, reaching up into frequencies your ears cannot register at all, well into what we call the ultrasonic. And it can hear sounds so faint that, to you, they do not exist. So think about what that empty corner might actually contain. A mouse or an insect moving inside the wall, its tiny scratching perfectly audible to your dog and perfectly silent to you. The thin, high electric whine of a charger, a device, a wire in the wall, singing away at a pitch above everything you can hear. Water, shifting through a pipe. The wind finding a gap in the frame and whistling at a frequency you will never catch. To you, that corner is silent. To your dog, it may be a very clear, very specific sound, coming from exactly the place it is staring, and it is doing the most natural thing in the world. It is looking at the thing it can hear. Now add smell, and the corner fills up even more. Your dog reads the air the way you read a room with your eyes, in rich, constant, layered detail, through a nose so sensitive it lives in a different informational universe than yours. And air is not still. It moves through a room in slow currents and eddies you cannot feel, sliding along walls, curling into corners, pooling where surfaces meet. So a corner is often where the story of the whole room collects. The scent of something that passed through hours ago and left a trail. A thin thread of smell drifting in from outside or from another room, carried on a draft. Dampness. A pest's path. The faint chemical signature of something you would never in 1,000 years detect. Your dog can smell a change in that corner, a presence, a trail that leads to that spot, and it turns and stares, because to its nose, something is unmistakably there. Not a ghost. A fact written in molecules that your body throws away before you ever know it arrived. And then there is what your dog can see, which is not what you see either. In some ways, your vision beats a dog's, but not in the ways that matter here. A dog is far better than you at catching movement, especially faint movement, and especially in low light, where its eyes gather what little there is and turn it into something usable long after yours have given up. And a dog's eyes refresh the world faster than yours do, which means it can perceive flicker and quick motion that your eyes blur together into smooth stillness. So in that dim corner where you see nothing move, your dog may be watching a tiny insect drift, a mote of dust turning through a shaft of light, the faint shudder of a shadow as something shifts, the flicker of a reflection your eyes quietly erase. Your brain is constantly smoothing the world, deleting the small and the fast and the dim to give you a calm, steady picture. Your dog's eyes do less of that deleting. So it sees the twitch in the corner that your mind has already decided was nothing. Put all of that together, and you arrive at something genuinely strange to sit with. Every single waking moment, you and your dog are standing in the same room, and you are not living in the same reality. It is inhabiting a louder, richer, more crowded, more detailed version of your home, one that is constantly streaming information you were simply not built to receive. You think of your house as a place you know completely, mapped and safe and empty wherever it looks empty. But there is a creature lying right beside you for whom that same house is teeming, alive in its corners with sounds and scents and movements, and you would go your whole life never knowing, except for these moments. The moments when it lifts its head and fixes on a spot you have already dismissed, and reminds you, without meaning to, of just how much of the world is closed to you. The staring is not spooky. It is a small, involuntary tour of everything your senses leave out. And once you see it this way, a whole catalog of your dog's uncanny moments quietly stops being uncanny. The way it lifts its head and trots to the door seconds before anyone knocks, because it heard the footsteps on the path, or the specific engine of a familiar car, long before the sound reached you. The way it grows restless and clingy hours before a storm arrives, reading the drop in pressure, the distant rumble far below your hearing, the change in the smell of the air. The way it seems to know who is calling, or that you are almost home, or that something is coming. None of it is a sixth sense. It is the same five senses you have, turned up to a level you cannot imagine, catching the early edges of events that only reach you much, much later, if they reach you at all. Now, in the name of honesty, let's deal directly with the ghost. There is no scientific evidence that dogs perceive spirits or the supernatural, and importantly, there does not need to be, because the ordinary explanation already accounts completely for what you are seeing. A creature that hears the ultrasonic, smells the invisible, and catches movement you cannot, has no shortage of perfectly real things to stare at. But there is one honest exception worth knowing, and it is about care, not the paranormal. Usually, corner staring is nothing at all, just a dog being a dog with far better equipment than you. But occasionally, especially in an older dog, staring blankly at walls, or getting stuck in a corner, or seeming lost and confused, can be an early sign of canine cognitive dysfunction, a kind of dementia that affects aging dogs. And rarely, a fixed trance-like stare, or repeated snapping at invisible things, can point to something medical worth checking. So the honest rule is simple. If it is occasional, and your dog is otherwise its normal happy self, it is almost certainly just its senses at work. But if the staring is new, frequent, glazed, or comes packaged with confusion or other changes, that is not a ghost either. That is your dog telling you, in the only way it can, that it might be time to see a vet. And here is a small thing you can check for yourself the next time it happens. Do not look for what your dog is seeing. Look at how it is looking. Watch the precision of it. A dog staring at nothing does not gaze vacantly into space, the way a bored or empty mind drifts. It locks on. Its eyes track a specific point. Its ears aim like antennas at an exact location. Sometimes its head tilts, following something, adjusting. That focus, that pinpoint, deliberate attention is the tell. It is not the blank stare of an animal seeing nothing. It is the sharp, hunting stare of an animal that has found something and is watching it in a spot you have already written off as empty. So, why does your dog stare at the corner you cannot see? Not because it sees the dead, because it sees the living world, the real one, the whole one, in a resolution you were never handed. That corner is not haunted. It is simply awake with a reality you are deaf and blind to, and your dog is the one window you have into it. The animal at your feet is not gazing into another world at all. It is gazing into this one, the actual one, the version that has been humming and moving and unfolding all around you your entire life, that you have never once fully seen or heard or smelled. And every time it stops and stares at your empty air, it is quietly telling you the truth that is so easy to forget, that the world is far bigger and far busier and far more alive than the small, bright, comfortable slice of it that your own senses are kind enough to let you have. So the next time your dog goes still and locks its eyes on nothing at all, try not to feel the chill. Try to feel the wonder instead. You are being shown the doorway to a world you are not allowed to enter by the one creature in your home that can walk right up to its edge and look inside. It cannot tell you what is there, but it can turn and stare and remind you that it exists. And then, having glimpsed a version of reality you will never reach, it does the most loyal thing of all. It looks away from the hidden world, and it comes back, and it lies down again, next to you, in the small and ordinary one you share.